The views, opinions, and content of this show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect those of Local Matters Broadcasting, LLC, its owners, partners, affiliates, assigns, or heirs. Having said that, it's now time to say good morning, St. Johns County. Welcome to the weekly radio show of the St. Johns County Council on Aging, better known in our community as the COA. We are your local nonprofit agency who for the past 50 years has been leading and advocating for the dignity, independence, health, and community involvement of older St. Johns County residents. I'm Brian Robinson, Program Director for COA, broadcasting to you live from the studio of WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. Before we get into our show, let me remind everyone that if you have a question, comment, or a suggestion for a radio show topic, please send your email to radio@coasjc.org. Again, that's radio@coasjc.org. Also want to remind you that we are participating in the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event. As part of a national partnership with Meals on Wheels America, Subaru of America Incorporated and its retailers will donate a minimum of $300 to a charity such as Meals on Wheels for every new vehicle leased or sold from now until January 2nd, 2025. Since the Subaru Share the Love event began in 2008, Subaru and its participating retailers have donated more than 4.6 million meals and helped provide friendly visits to seniors being served by local Meals on Wheels programs across the country, including in St. Johns County. For more information, visit mealsonwheelsamerica.org/share the love. Again, that's mealsonwheelsamerica.org/share the love. Well, joining me this morning is Isabelle Renault. She has served in a variety of roles at the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce since 1999, including Economic Development Administrator, Vice President of Membership Services, VP of Operations, just to name a few. And since 2014, she has served as the Chamber's President and CEO. Isabelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rang. I'm happy to be here.
I thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule, serving all of the businesses throughout St. Johns County. But I would love this first segment, if you would, just take some time, educate our listeners about the Chamber and what role the Chamber plays in helping businesses succeed in our county.
Wonderful. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. So the Chamber of Commerce is the second largest broad business organization in Northeast Florida. We have 950 members, about that are in St. Johns County and some are outside of St. Johns County. And our mission is really to help grow business. If I have to simplify it in 2 words, we grow business. We help our businesses to really protect them through public policy, help them in their expansion growth through economic development department that we have. We help the network connect with other businesses. So there is a lot of things that the Chamber does for the business community overall. We also are a liaison in case of a hurricane for the business community. And I know we're going to go in more detail in a minute, but that's what we do.
Well, and I have enjoyed, in my role as Program Director at COA, and one of the things, I've been here about 2.5 years now, and one of the things that I've enjoyed over the course of my time with COA is being involved in some of the different events that you hold with the Chamber. And so I don't get to get out to all of them, but I have attended several of them. And so you always put on great events. And so I just want to compliment you on that. It's always just very well done. And so I applaud you for the hard work that you put into that, you and your staff.
It's my team. It's all them. We have a great events manager, but it takes the entire team and some volunteers to add to that that we have that really help us put those together for our members.
That's great. So according to the U.S. Census Bureau, St. Johns County has an area of 822 square miles. 601 square miles is land, 221 is water. And so to make this a little bit easier to understand its size, you can fit 14,467 football fields in that amount of space. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel it's important for people to understand that the Chamber is serving a large county with a lot of businesses. And you said there's over 950
members of the chamber.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but not every business joins the chamber. So I'm just wondering if there's a business owner out there that's listening this morning who's not a member of the chamber, how would it benefit him or her to join the chamber?
So every business should be a member of the chamber. And I'm not saying that because I really want this to happen. I really truly believe that if you own a business in the community, whether it's this community or another community, if you are not a member of your local chamber, you are missing out. Not only that, but you are going to have less resources available to you. So it is important for several reasons. The chamber first is well known. Chambers of commerce in general, not just us, are well known for being a connector, helping you network, meet some potential customers. Attending event allows you to do that, but also connecting. We, as staff, know pretty well our membership and our members, and we try to make chamber introduction and connections. So we're well known for that. But beyond that, what people don't realize is that we also fight for our businesses to protect them on the public policy side of things. And there is no other organization that does that for their businesses, local businesses. We have a VP of public policy on staff. We work closely with our elected officials locally at the state level, at the federal level as well, in order to watch out for any bills that may be coming up that will affect our businesses. And we want to make sure that our businesses know ahead of time what can affect them during the legislative session. And at the end of the legislative session, we bring in our elected officials to do a wrap-up. And we host an event, and we ask our business to come so you can know as a business what's going to happen. What are the bills that just passed that will affect you? And if you don't have time, you don't have to have a small businesses to worry about a bill and start worrying about that. You want to make sure that you have customer walking through your door. That's what you worry about. So we are your back. We have the back of businesses by making sure that we watch out for those bills. And we have a public policy committee, and we work closely with our elected officials. We communicate with them about the position of the chamber. We take stands on issues on a regular basis. Our public policy make recommendation to our board. We just did that for the last referendum in the school district. So what I'm trying to say is, whether or not you attend an event, whether or not you want to even grow your business. There's some people who are happy with the stage of their business. They don't necessarily want to grow it, but they want to protect it, right? So even if you don't attend or you don't want to look at growing your business because you're happy, you have 10 employees, you don't want to become bigger, and this is where you want to go and when you want to stay at, which is totally fine. You still want to protect what you have and what you've created. And so being part of a Chamber of Commerce allows you to know that somebody else is watching out. You fund those services by being a member of the chamber. And then also, if you want to grow your business, then you also are able to access resources that you wouldn't have. For example, let's say you want to open a pet shop somewhere in the area. We can drill down for you. If you're a member of the chamber, we can drill down for you and find data, how many dogs we have per zip code in the specific area. That is data, free data that we can access because of the membership, or our member pay allows us to buy into accessing this type of data. So again, there's so much more that the chamber does that people realize beyond networking, and which is really important that we do.
Oh, fantastic. Well, those are some great reasons. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our first break right now. I got more questions coming ahead, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. And welcome back to the weekly radio show of the St. Johns County Council on Aging here on WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. My guest this morning is Isabelle Renault, President and CEO of the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce. In our first segment, we were talking about what the chamber does and why it's beneficial for a business owner to be a part of the chamber. So thank you for sharing all of the wonderful reasons why. Another question that I have here on my list is one of the challenges facing our county is affordable housing. And available on your website is a report that was created by the Chamber's Attainable Housing Coalition. The report states that most essential workers, such as teachers, nurses, hospitality workers, law enforcement, manufacturing workers, cannot afford to purchase a home in St. Johns County, and some cannot even afford to rent in St. Johns County. I'm just wondering, what is the Chamber doing to help solve this problem?
Well, thank you for that question. Yes, we have been working on this for about 2 years now, specifically when we started to have our largest employers saying, we have a really hard time with recruiting employees and finding a location for them to live in St. Johns County. And when, those employers are part of the school district, firefighters, law enforcement, and in the hospital, you have to find a solution, because this is affecting, the quality of life, the safety of our community. So we started a coalition put together of businesses that want to address the issue. And the first thing we said, okay, let's try to assess the situation, because it's hard to say, well, this is affordable. No, this is not affordable. I think this is affordable. This house at this price is affordable. Well, it depends on really a rule of thumb of the 30% rule. Not spending more than your gross income, 30% of your gross income on housing. That's really what would be a good rule of thumb for what's affordable. So how does it look like for a teacher? How does it look like for law enforcement deputy? How does it look like for even a manufacturing engineer, first-time engineer, also struggling here, believe it or not. So we looked at, okay, well, we're going to look at salary, we're going to look at the median price of a home in St. Johns County, and we're going to look at the gap. So if you go on our website, sjcchamber.com, and you go under what we do, economic development, attainable housing there, you will find the entire report that breaks down what it is that a teacher, a firefighter, law enforcement officer, as well as a nurse, and also a first-time manufacturing engineer workforce working here in St. Johns County could afford. And it shows their salary, it shows the price of a house, and it shows the gap. And the gap is huge. Mm-hmm. So the gap is so huge that even after the increase of salary that the employer has done, because all the employers have increased their salary to help in that sense, there is more that is needed. And the more that is needed is really, truly, at the end of the day, for St. Johns County, is a higher density. And higher density will allow, in some areas, and we already have high density in some areas on our comprehensive land use plan, and it's already full, mostly in Ponte Vedra, high residential, and mostly also in Hastings as well. That is in the comprehensive land use map, where it shows areas where you can have high density. Without having a higher density, we cannot build housing that is affordable to build, thus affordable to be able to sell or rent. So that's the major difficulty for us in St. Johns County to start with. It's a non-starter. If we don't have higher density, it's going to be harder to be able to really come with, because the land cost is much higher than it was before COVID. You would have asked me that question prior to COVID. We would have had a different discussion, right? Mm-hmm. But so right now, we really look at assessing the situation. What is affordable? What is not affordable? Second, what is available? What is not available? So back when we look at the availability of rental between $1,000 and $1,500 on a rent, it was 2,000. So we had 2,360 units available, and of that, only 70 of them were in that price range. Mm-hmm. So the availability is extremely low. Even if we have it, it's extremely low. So that's another issue. And then we describe in our report, what is affecting the supply and the demand. But most importantly, we address solutions that can be put in place. So the solutions are are short-term and long-term that can be implemented. They're based on what other community have done. So we have study cases that you can look at on the website as well of what other community have done. But at the end of the day, it's not a one solution fit all, and it's not one solution, one silver bullet. You have to have several layers of solution implemented. So you may want to look at a property that is an opportunity in an opportunity zone. An opportunity zone allows investors to have tax credit, right? You want to look at, okay, well, we have that opportunity where we can put it there. Then you can look at different type of lending process that allows for a better rates. So there are several things that needs to be layered one above the other to be able to create attainable housing. So I want to make a distinction between attainable housing and affordable housing for us specifically. We specifically focused on the salary range of $45,000 to $65,000. That's how we started first on that, because we know that the rest of the salary, the lower salary ranges are very important, but we already have several entity and agency in our community that are doing a fantastic job of addressing those issues. So we didn't want to duplicate the work that they are doing. We wanted to focus on 45 to 65. But when we started to work into doing this, we started to have some momentum, and we wanted to make sure, because we are a tourist industry, that we include our hospitality worker in that research. So if you look into the report, you'll see also what a hospitality worker can afford in St. Johns County. And then you're talking about the difference between one earner versus dual earner household. So if you are a single parent with children, it is a very strong struggle that you will have and face in St. Johns County to be able to afford a house or just renting an apartment. But so that's the difference between attainable housing and affordable housing. Attainable housing is focusing more on certain middle salary range there for our teachers, nurses, firefighters, and so on. Those who really are providing the quality of life we need. And that is the issue, is if we do not have a place for them to live, it's going to start to affect our quality of life. So people wonder, you go and you see reduced hours at restaurants. There's reduced hours at restaurants because people can't find employees because they can't recruit them and have them find a place to live. How many, stories I've heard from employers telling me, well, I found a great employee. I offered that really good position to that employee. He's moving into the area. He's looking, he called me back and said, I have to, decline the offer. Can't find a place that I think I'm going to be able to afford. Mm-hmm. So this is the type of thing. So the other thing that we have done is, if you go on the website, we also have done a study on analyzing, because we received some concern from people saying, well, adding attainable housing to the community is actually not providing more resources, more revenue to the community. And so we did a study from an economist, from the former economist of the Florida Chamber of Commerce, has done a study through FSU, Government Institute of Institutes. That's the organization that did it, where they study what is the economic impact. We'll come back.
Hold that thought right there. That music means we got to go to our next commercial break. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. And welcome back to the weekly radio show, the St. Johns County Council on Aging, here on WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. Joining me this morning is Isabelle Renault, the president and CEO of the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce. And prior to our being interrupted with these commercials, you were elaborating a little bit on the affordable housing issue and how the chamber is helping with that. So please, if you would, carry on and what's your thoughts there?
Absolutely. So what I was saying is the other thing that we have done outside of the white paper on attainable housing is a study because we get some feedback from people saying, well, adding attainable housing to a community is not going to add value to the community. So financial value, fiscal, economic impact of that to the community. So we commissioned a study to find out how is that going to work, And we looked at adding 3,000, 5,000, or 8,000 units. We ran the number. We asked them to run the number to show the economic impact. And definitely the economic and fiscal impact is very positive to have and to add attainable housing in St. Johns County. And so we wanted to have that to be able to show, okay, this is what the numbers are saying. And so that's another thing that we have done. What is the most important thing is to be able to get together with stakeholders and find start implementing the solutions. Some solutions are short term, some solutions are long term. A lot of solutions have to do with zoning changes and as well as land use as well. Some have to do with incentive for builders. Some are to do are financial related. How to be able to borrow money. You can also have a community land trust. That's a longer term, a system where you're able to have an area protected to be able to build this attainable housing as well. So there are plenty of solutions. We're going to be updating the data. This one was done. The data is a year and a half old now. Not that it's very old, but we already know that our prices, we had our medium home price has changed quite a bit since we did it. So we're going to update that. We should have that ready in the first quarter of 25 for the update and continue working with our local elected officials to see what are the solutions that, how can we start pushing for some solutions in there.
Well, I enjoyed the report. I enjoyed looking through it and all the hard work that was done to make that happen. And I think it's a no-brainer, really, to have affordable and attainable housing for your essential workers, right? Because otherwise they're living elsewhere, right? They're either living down in Palm Coast or they're living up in Jacksonville or somewhere that they can afford, right?
Yes.
Which means when they're doing their shopping, they're doing their shopping in those areas.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Rather than in St. Johns
That's
County.
right.
So if they live here, they're going to shop here, which is just helps all
you
the
totally
businesses,
get it.
right?
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And transportation, so if they have to drive, then you have more traffic on the road as well. Mm-hmm. So it just affects everybody, the quality of life in general for everybody.
Right. Well, and again, I appreciate all the work that was done on it. And, we were talking off air about how many of our seniors are also impacted
Absolutely.
by affordable housing. The fact that rent continues to increase, but if they're retired,
Right.
their retirement's not increasing.
Mm-hmm.
Social Security increases a little bit each year, but sometimes not enough to make up the difference in what their rent has increased. But then we also have seniors who worked hard, paid off their mortgage, owned their home, but now they're in this predicament where they can't afford the insurance because we've had some seniors say that their insurance rates tripled from year to year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And some of them are at a point where they're just willing to sell their home, move in with their children, whatever, so that they're not having to choose between a rent payment, a mortgage payment, or the insurance payment. Having to choose between that and their medication and just the lifestyle that they were hoping to have once they retired. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of work needs to be done. That is for sure, and I appreciate the Chamber's participation in helping to find a solution to the problem. Mm-hmm. So our goal and our mission at St. Johns County Council on Aging is to lead and advocate for the dignity, independence, health, and community involvement of older St. Johns County residents. To fulfill this mission, at the Council on Aging, we are happy to employ older adults. In fact, 50% of our employees are 60 years of age or older. Now, some of them work for the extra income, but some of them work because they need the income. And securing employment can be challenging for some of them because they have not kept up with the advancements in technology. So I just was wondering if you might know, are there any programs in St. Johns County that provide technology training to older adults to prepare them for the workforce?
So in general, in St. Johns County, there are two organizations that really help with community learning. One is Flagler College has the Long Life Learning Institute. I think it's called Institute Long Life Learning, where they have programs for the entire community that are affordable. And that could be something that maybe working directly with that organization, if they don't have a program already in place that is catered directly to our elderly population, that could be something that I would suggest to have the Council on Aging has a talk with them. And also, the school district has the community enrichment and continuing workforce education program through FCTC, so through First Coast Technical College. And same thing, maybe talking with them directly if they don't have that specific one that is catered specifically for the need of the Council on Aging client. That would be a great partnership, I believe, for you all to
yeah, we do have, so at our River House location, Monday through Thursday, we have a lot of different classes that we do, art, music, dance, and so forth. And we do have some where we help seniors navigate their iPhone or their iPad or how to access email, that kind of stuff, But I just feel that as far as, if they're needing to stay in the workforce, or maybe they're at a point where they retired and they're in a situation with, they just don't have enough income coming in, they need an extra job. I think having that extra training as far as, Microsoft applications like Word and Excel, those are the norm in a lot of positions these days. And so I think it's very important to have that option available to them to get that training so that they can get into the workforce. Yeah, so FCTC, so the school district through FCTC offers this type of training. I've sent multiple staff to that too. Oh, that's great. So as far as, tying into this, and I know I've given you questions in advance, but as we get into our discussion, other questions pop in my head. Do you find that most businesses in St. Johns County are open to employing older adults? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I haven't, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm so glad that's the case. Well, we're going to have another commercial break coming up and interrupting us here in just a moment. So that should kick in right now. So there it is. There's that music. So we'll come back. We got another question for you, and then we'll talk about some other things in our last segment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. And welcome back to the weekly radio show, the St. Johns County Council on Aging, here on WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. I'm joined this morning by Isabelle Renault, President and CEO of the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce. And before I ask my next question, I just want to let everybody know that next week we'll have Carolyn Carger and Amy Robinson in the studio to talk about events, fundraising, and volunteer opportunities at COA. So tune in next week, same time, same place, right here on WFOY 102.1 FM. All right, so I wanted to ask you one other question, and then just kind of open it up to anything else that you might want to talk about. Yeah. And that is, we have a lot of folks that volunteer for us. In fact, we have 550 active volunteers at St. Johns County Council on Aging. Wow. So we would not be able to do the amazing work that we do without our amazing volunteers. But from time to time, we have folks that contact us, want to volunteer, and maybe there's not something available, or maybe what is available doesn't interest them. And so we try to refer folks to other organizations that might have volunteer opportunities. I didn't know if the Chamber has any volunteer opportunities. So we work closely with our ambassadors. Our ambassadors of the Chamber are really our volunteers. So they typically join the Chamber because they have a business, or some of them don't necessarily have a business. I would say you don't have to have a business to be on the Chamber, a Chamber member, and you become an associate member, and then you can volunteer being part of the ambassador program. And so very often our ambassadors, they're a fantastic group. They help us quite a bit in engaging our members. We could not, we're a small staff of 10 here, and so we could not really engage our members to the level we want to engage them without our ambassadors. They also are so helpful at events. When we have events, the faces that you see very often checking you in at an event are going to be our ambassadors. And we're very, very happy to have them. But outside of that, we were just talking in the break about Care Connect. What's the website for that one? Right. So UF Health, St. John's Care Connect. So the website is careconnectvolunteers.com. And there you can go, and they list a lot of different volunteer opportunities for a variety of organizations throughout St. Johns County. Yeah. So including ones at Council on Aging. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities and maybe at Council on Aging we don't have what you're looking for, stop by the Care Connect website, careconnectvolunteers.com, and see what else is out there for other great organizations. So in our last segment here, off air, you were telling me that you'd love to talk about the foundation that you got started.
Because we just talked about volunteers, made me think also that at some point we're probably going to need more volunteer for our foundation. So the Chamber of Commerce started the foundation this year. We had our great kickoff event back in April, and we were very excited about it. So we already have a date for the next one. So save the date, March 27, 2025. We're going to have another great event for the foundation. We want to raise funds for several things. So we have three areas of focus for the foundation. We have one that is our Leadership St. John's program, which is a community leadership program. So every community typically has a leadership program where you apply to be part of the program. If you're chosen, then you discover an aspect of your community every month for the next 9 months. And it's a fantastic program. We just made a selection of the new class, actually, for 2025. That program was part of the chamber. We moved it under the foundation so we can have a bigger reach there. And then the second one is the emergency fund relief. So back in 2016, remember we had Hurricane Matthew, and that was really a tough time for our businesses, for our community overall. And so the chamber ended up being organically the liaison for the business community during a disaster. And after that, we had several hurricanes after that. We had COVID. That was really also for us a emergency situation for our businesses as well. Through all this work, I realized and learned quickly that businesses don't get a lot of help during a hurricane or during in the recovery mode or after. As an individual, we get grant from the government that to help us very often with that. You can have help with lodging if you lost your home and so on. But for a business, you have to get a loan. You cannot get a grant. You have to get a loan. And if you just started your business, let's say, and we had that case. We had one businesses that just opened, a lady just opened a coffee shop. I think it was 2 weeks after the coffee shop opened that Matthew hit. And that was really, really tough because, when you just did a loan, you just get a loan from the bank, and then you have to go back and say, hey, I lost all my appliances. I need another loan. Maybe not. You're not going to get another loan. So we wanted to make sure that we are able to provide some type in the future. We don't have right now fund in that pocket, in that sleeve of emergency relief yet, but we want to raise money for that so that we'll be able to provide some grant for our businesses in a case of an emergency that happens. And we are a coastal community here, so we know we need to find a way to be more resilient as a community. So that's one of the contribution the chamber through the foundation wants to have, is to make sure that our economy is resilient through that in that way. So that's a tool to keep us going and the economy moving even when we have a hardship. The other one is workforce development.
If I could just jump in for a second.
Sure.
I mean, this past hurricane season, we had three that, thankfully they didn't directly impact us, but they still indirectly impacted us as they were passing through. So I think that shows that I think that's going to be the norm. And so to have a fund like that is very, very important. Yeah.
And then the other thing that people don't know, and that's another reason you want to be a member of the chamber, but even if you're not, we are the liaison with our emergency operations center in case of a hurricane or in case of a man-made disaster. So when I say we are the liaison, I have our VP of Economic Development sitting at the EOC during an emergency. So that means that we are the connect. We are right in the middle of the information, so we're able to distribute information to our businesses very fast. So if you are a business in St. Johns County and you're not a member of the chamber, please follow us on social media, because we will provide all the information for our businesses through Facebook and LinkedIn to our social media platform to be able to share with you what you need to do, what do you need to do now, and all the information for preparation, for response and recovery. So that's very important. I want to make sure that everybody knows that. Now, the other thing that we're looking at doing through the foundation is workforce development. We're looking right now at grant to help upskill our workforce and provide any type of additional funding that will help our workforce in their learning to be able to keep up with the advancement. And you just mentioned it earlier, keeping up with the technology as well. So that's another thing that the foundation is looking at doing. And we're pretty excited about that and having this tool for the community that is the Chamber Foundation, and being able to contribute to the community overall and to the business and the community overall. Really, that's what the foundation is all about.
Well, that's very exciting. So it just started this year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm excited to be able to watch it in the upcoming years and see how it grows and see how it's able to positively impact the businesses in St. Johns County. So I'm very happy to hear that you've started that. It's a I'm all about philanthropy and giving back to the community, and this is one way that you're able to do that. So I applaud you and the leaders at the Chamber for stepping up to the plate to do that.
Yeah.
So
we have a great board. You have a great leadership on the board as well. So they also contribute with providing a lot of a suggestion. We have a board of advisors. We are also guiding us in some of the strategic thinking of the Chamber.
That's great. Well, we have about 30 seconds left in our show.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts that you might want to send us off with this morning?
Absolutely. So a couple of other things that the Chamber does that people don't know. We also do tourism development in the Ponte Vedra area. So if you want to look up our website, experiencepontevedra.com, it's experiences for residents and for visitors, a nature-based experience, wellness-related experience as well in that area, and also our economic development work that we do.
All right. Well, that music means it's time for our show to end. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Isabelle, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you. It was very enjoyable.
All right. We'll see you all back here, same time, same place next week.